Rama Rama. Namaste everyone. Welcome you all to session 12 of Samskritasri Pathamala 1. Today we'll be seeing some grammatical terms after discussing the test paper. Let us begin with the Mangala Shlokaha. Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantaye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Jnananandamayam Devam Nirmalasphटिकाकृतिम् Adharam Sarva Vidyanam Hayagrivam Upasmahe Saraswati Namastestu Veena Pustakadharini Hamsavahanamaarudhe Vidyadanam Kurushvame. So let us start with a suktihi. What is a suktihi? It is a good saying or a proverb. Today the sukti that we are going to see is Sotsahanam Nasti Asadhyam Naranam. The first word is Sotsahanam. Utsahanam, those with enthusiasm. Nasti is not there. Asadhyam, impossible. Naranam, men. So what does this mean? Nothing is impossible for enthusiastic people. That is, those with enthusiasm will achieve everything. So I thought I will introduce you to some simple suktis in every class. One in every class. Let us see. First thing, let us discuss the test questions. Are you able to see my screen? If you can respond in the chat if you're able to see my screen. Yes. Okay. I'll probably increase the size a bit. Yes. So the first question was, which of the following swara is dirgha? That was the first question, right? Yes. So most of you have answered this correctly. It is ekara. The vowel ekara is a dirgha swara. The others, ikara, rikara and ukara are all hrasva swaras, which are short vowels. Next is, which of the following vowels does not have a dirgha variant? Which means usually akara has akara, I has I and R has R. So they occur in pairs. But lakara has only a hrasva form, which is L. The lakara I told you is not going to be considered by us. So L is the only vowel which does not have a long variant. That's the correct answer, and most of you have got that correct as well. Next is ya, ra, la, va together are called. Just these four together are called antasthaha. They have a special name. The group of these four consonants, I'm saying ya, ra, la, va, it is actually I, r, l, v. So as always, for consonants, we don't pronounce them without any vowel. So we use akara to make it easy to pronounce. So they are all, the four of them together are called antasthaha. They are avargiya vyanjanas. Most of you have chosen this option called avargiya vyanjanas. They are definitely avargiya vyanjanas, but they, apart from them, sha, saha are also avargiya vyanjanas. So That is not a name which is given specially to the set of these 4 consonants. So Antastaha will be the correct answer. Next is Visarga follows only a vowel. I've been mentioning this in almost every class. When I talk about Visarga and Anuswara, I say that they follow only a vowel. Because when it comes after a, it is the Anuswara. When the Anuswara comes after e, it is e, and u, it is u, and then the Visarga, when it follows the a, it is aha, when it follows the u, it is uhu, and so on. So they necessarily follow only a vowel. So that is the correct statement. Visarga follows only a vowel is true. I don't know why many of you have gotten confused in this question and selected false. Next is the Anuswara rule. When I introduced the words which are of Napumsakalinga, I told you that the Anuswara is given at the end of the word, which is incorrect according to an important grammar principle. Always when the word is used separately, or when the word occurs at the end of a sentence, or when the word is followed by a vowel, then we use only the makara. Only when a word is followed by a consonant do we use the Anuswara. So what is the question here? We use Anuswara at the end of a word if followed by a vowel, which is false. Because if it is followed by a vowel, we should use makara and not the Anuswara. So here also many of you have gotten it wrong, though most of it is right. Next is Chihvamuliyaha is the Visarga before pa or ha, which is false, because Upadmaniyaha is the Visarga before pa and ha, and Jihvamuliyaha is the Visarga before ka and ha. So this again, some of you have got this wrong. Next is, which are the Vyanjanas here? Kakara is a Vyanjana. It is a Vargiya Vyanjana. Shakara is a combination of Kakara and Shakara. So it has a name Sanyuktakshara. It is not a pure consonant. It is a combination of 2 consonants. I told you that they have given this in the list of consonants in the textbook, but we will be considering them under the Sanyuktaksharas because they are not, it's not a simple single consonant, it has 2 consonants within it. Next is Yakara. Of course, this is also a Avargiya Vyanjana, so it is a Vyanjana. Rkara is a vowel. So this also most of you have selected the correct answers. Next is Mahaprana. Mahaprana. Hakara is Mahaprana. Sakara is Mahaprana. Sha, Shra, Sa, Ha. All the 4 are Mahapranas. The Ushmanaha, Ushma Varnas are all Mahaprana. Vakara is an Alpa Prana. Yara, Lava are Alpa Prana letters. Jhakara, which is the 4th letter of the Cha Varga, the Talavya Varga, that also is a Mahaprana. So this, most of you have selected the correct answers for this as well. Next is Mridu Vyanjanas. You know the Mridu and Karkasha Vyanjana differentiation, the emphasis that is laid. Cha is the 2nd letter. The first 2 letters of the Vargas, Sha, Shra, Sa, these 3 together with the first 2 letters of the 5 Vargas form the hard consonants or the Karkasha Vyanjanas. The remaining letters are Mridu Vyanjanas, which are pronounced with less stress. So Makara and Repha are both Mridu Vyanjanas. Hakara and Chakara are both Mahaprana and Karkasha Vyanjanas. They are not Mridu Vyanjanas. So this also you have done fairly well. Then what are the Avargiya Vyanjanas? Bhakara comes in the Pa Varga. Makara also comes in the Pa Varga. Shakara is an Avargiya Vyanjana. Lakara is also a Avargiya Vyanjana. This, I think, there was no confusion. Next, select the letters in the combination. I've given you Shakara followed by R, the vowel R. In that, yes, most of you have done this also correctly. And we have Shakara and Rikara. There is no Repha in this. You should not confuse between the Repha and the Rikara. Rikara is a vowel and it has a R sound, like the R in crystal. Whereas Repha has the R sound. And then you can add whichever vowel, Ra or Ri or Ru or whatever. But R already is a vowel and it has a unique sound. So there is no Ukara, there is no Repha, just Shakara and Rikara gives you this form. When I was mentioning the special forms in after Sanyuktaksharas, I specifically told you this. This does not have any consonant following it. It's a normal Gunitakshara of Shakara and Rikara. Next is Hakara followed by Repha and Akara. Hra, like in Hrasva. So here there is no R, there is Hakara, Repha and Akara. Very few people have selected Rikara, so that's fine. Next is Ksha. Ksha is a special form where it has the Kakara, then the Murdhanya Shakara it has, Ksha, and Okara, Ksho. So a few people did have a problem. They have selected Shakara, that is the Talavya Shakara for this, which is wrong. Kakara followed by the Murdhanya Shakara gives you Ksha. Next is this one. This I repeatedly showed you as some forms which are very similar to write and which look similar, but they have to be given special attention because they look like certain other forms, certain very similar looking forms I had shown you in the class slides. Let me show you that slide now once. So the Dakara and Yakara gets a form like this, and then the modified shape of the Yakara where it reaches right up to the top and a vertical line. The double Dakara where the first Dakara is written on top, immediately following it with the curve and the loop at the end. So if you see the loop at the end, you should know that it is a double Dakara. So although I have written I have not included the Akara here. As I told you, in consonants for pronunciation, we add the Akara. And sometimes in the script, I am unable to get this kind of a form if I just write two Dakaras. So I necessarily have to write it as the Akara is missing, but that's not a major problem. All you need to know is that it has two Dakaras, and that's why we get this shape. Similarly, Dr. For Dr, the first loop is small, the first curve is small, and the next one is slightly larger. So that's the difference between Tr and Dr. Whereas in Tr you write the entire Takara, and then this Dr Kara, the flip C, you write it in you write a smaller one underneath. So you should know the difference between this Dr and Tr. So this I had explained during one of the classes. So if you had gone through these slides, you would have known. Yeah. Next is, so that is why this Dakara and Akara. So there is no Rikara in this, there is no Repha in this. So the only letters left are Dakara and Akara. So you had to choose these two. Next is Dr. As I told you, this has Rikara, this has D. That is the Dantya Varna Dakara. Third letter of the Tavarga is also included in this. Dr. is this is the Gunitakshara of Dakara with Rkara. Next, you had to choose the answers of for the words. First one is comfort, Sukham. Most of you have gotten this right. So this was easy. This is also almost everyone got it right. Yam. So what are the words for this? Yam. So it depends on which lingam. So if it is pullingam, it will be ayam and eshaha. For strilingam, iyam and esha. Napumsakalingam, etat and idam. So that is tat. The only option for tat is the remaining. The other three are for this. So the only option for that is tat. The previous one, saha, sa, and tat, all three are indicative of that or he or she, referring to something at a which is farther away, which is not seen. Something which is far away. Next, door, dwaram. Dwaram, many of you got this right as well. Animal, I think some Indian languages have mrigaha as well. Actually, mrigaha is also correct in very rare cases, but in the textbook we are given pashu as animal. So for now we will just stick to the textbook meanings. Then ripe means pakvam. Ripe or cooked is pakvam. Pankajam is lotus. Pattanam is a city. Padmam is again a lotus. This also, all the word meanings you have done very well. Book is pustakam. Pushpam is flower. Bhavanam is house. Peetham is seat or pedestal. Horse, Vrishabhaha is not horse, it is bull. Mushikaha, Mushakaha, both are right. In the textbook, I think they've given Mushikaha. It means a mouse. Khagaha is a bird. Ashwaha is a horse. Elephant, Gajaha, Mrigaha, Pashu, Ashwaha. Gajaha is the correct answer. Most of you have written this also correctly. Sleep is, it's not yatra, which is travel. It is not mala, which is a garland. It is not Neeraja. Neeraja is the name of a person. And Nidra means sleep. So these were the test questions. So if you have any questions, you can type it out in the question box. Mrigaha means deer. That's right. The exam showed only one dakara. Yes, the same dakara comes twice. At least you could have ruled out the other two and you would have gotten the other two right. There was no rikara, there was no rekha. So there was only dakara and akara in it. So it was just logical to select dakara and akara. Maharana. Mahaprana is one which is pronounced with more air. I have explained it in detail while telling you about the Vyanjanas. How does the Anuswara follow a vowel? For example, in say Ramaha. Ramaha is the name of a person. It has, what are the letters it has? The first letter is Repha. Repha, Akara, Ra. Then Makara and Akara, Ma. Repha, Akara, Makara, Akara, followed by Ha, which is the Visarga. So the Visarga follows the Hrasva Akara. So similarly, in all the words ending in a Visarga, you will see that it ends, the Visarga appears either before an Akara, Ikara, or ukara. Like in bhumihi, it is after a ikara. In kamadhenuhu, it is after ukara. So always it follows only a vowel. It does not follow a consonant. What is Jihva Muliyaha? I've been explaining from the first class. Please go back and watch the videos. The font size. So you always have the option of increasing the settings, increasing the font size in your browser settings. So you could have done that at least for the next test. You figure out beforehand how to increase the size of the web page that is being displayed. So it is just like another web page. So you can always increase the size. The Anuswara, can you explain Anuswara again is the question. The Anuswara is a purely nasal sound. So it gets a sound. When it comes after akara, it is When it comes after ukara, it is u. Can you hear the nasal sound? So there is an ukara, and it is also not just u, it is u, which means I make a sound with the nose as well. So that is why it is called Anuswara. You for visarga following a vowel, you take any word with a visarga. You will see that the previous letter is a gunitakshara. What is the gunitakshara? It is a consonant together with a vowel. So, for example, in griham, griham does not have visarga. In gajaha, jakara, akara, and visarga are the last three letters in that word. So there is jakara, which is a consonant, akara, which is a vowel, and then the visarga. So jaha actually has three letters or three parts to it, which is jakara, akara, and ha, which is the visarga. So it always follows only a vowel. It never comes up. You cannot pronounce it after a consonant at all. Antastaha, the English equivalent is semi-vowels. Avargiya Vyanjana is ungrouped consonants. Ayogavahaha means those which do not form part of the vowels or consonants. They are a separate category. And Anunasika varnas are those which are pronounced with the help of the nose as well. Just like in ka, kha, ga, gha, nga, the fifth letter, nga, has a nasal sound. In the second Talavya Varga, we have cha, cha, ja, ja, nya. And nya has a nasal sound. All the fifth letters of the grouped consonants together are called the Anunasika Varnas because they are pronounced with the nose. Nasika means nose. So they are pronounced with the help of the nose. So they are called Anunasika Varnas. How many assessments are there totally? We cannot say. At the end of a logical group of chapters, it will be nice for us to take a look at what we have done, see where we stand, revise the concepts thoroughly before we proceed to the next level. So based on that, wherever I feel it is necessary to give a test, I will announce beforehand and give you a test. There is no restriction on the number of tests, and these marks are not counted for the final assessment. These are just for your own self-evaluation purpose. Words like upadhmaniyaha, jihvamuliyaha, which I have been, explaining from the first class. Again, people are having doubts. I would recommend, please go and see the videos and also refer to the presentations again and get your doubts clarified. Or still, if you have a doubt, please write to me. Khagaha means a bird. Next is, what is the meaning of upadhmaniyaha? Meaning is not something that I am sure about. I will check it and let you know. Upadhmaniyaha refers to the visarga before pakara bhakara, but how it has how the word has been derived is I'm not very sure. There is no pass or fail in this exam. As I told you, it is purely so that you will prepare. Only when a test is announced, you will prepare with more seriousness, and that's why periodic tests are given. And also you will know where you stand and which areas you have to focus on and all that. Khagaha means bird. I already told you that. The class slides are all available in the course page. The course page is where you went and registered yourself for the course. So as you scroll down, you will see the videos, the audios of the class, as well as the presentations which are uploaded there. Either they will be uploaded the same day or after the class or the next day. So after that, you will be able to see the presentations. All you need to do is you should have logged into your account in vyoma-samskrta-pathasala, and you should have registered for the course. Only if you have registered for the course, you will get this email to join this webinar. Antastaha, it is mentioned in the textbook. Antastaha, Ushmanaha, everything is mentioned in the textbook. I also mentioned it in class. So I got confused when I remembered Visarga following Dakara in Dukha. It does not follow Dakara, it follows Du. What is Du? Du has Dakara and Ukara. So it is actually following the Ukara and not just the Dakara. So when you see a Gunita Akshara, you must be able to identify it as two distinct letters. Gunita Akshara is made up of a consonant and a vowel, right? So you should understand that the Visarga is actually following only the vowel. Final assessment will be at the end of the course. So these were the questions. Today our lesson is lesson 8, grammatical terms. So the first term that is given is Swaraha. In the book, it is given as Swaraha. Swara, is the vowel. This is what we learned first. All the Swaras starting from Akara, A, I, U, R, R, L, A, I, O. A, I, O, Au. These are the vowels and they are called Swaras. I have mentioned in bracket as Pluta Varnas. So we saw that there are Hrasva Swaras and Dirgha Swaras. There are also a third category of Swaras called Pluta Swaras, which do not find place within the set of 13 vowels. They are just for identifying them. So as I told you, akara has one matra sound. So when you click your fingers once, a is one. When you click it twice, it is two matra kala. So it is a dirgha swara. So akara is a short vowel. Akara is a long vowel. It has twice the duration as a short vowel. Whereas a pluta varna has more than the two counts. It is more than two matra kalas is called a pluta varna. Like when you call somebody from afar, say Rama, you call it. So the at the end is called a pluta varna. This is not very important at this stage. I'm just telling you that there is also a third type of vowel which has a longer duration than the dirgha swaras, and it is used in one of the places in which it is used is when you're calling a person from far away, like in Rama, Krishna, Nalini. So whichever swara it is, it can have a long form. So they are called pluta varnas. It is just an information which is nice to know. It is not part of your syllabus. The next is Vyanjanam. In the book, as I told you, the first one is given as Swaraha vowels. It is given in plural. Swaraha, as you can see, ends in akara followed by a visarga. Sakara, vakara, akara, repha, akara, and visarga are the components of this word swaraha. So there is an akara visarga at the end. So what do you understand? It is a pullinga word. Swaraha. Swaraha is a pullinga word, and the plural of it is swaraha, vowels. Next is Vyanjanam. It ends in So what is it? It is a napumsakalinga word. It means consonant, and you know the consonants: khakara, kakara, khakara, etc. up to shasha, saha, hakara. They're all the set of consonants. So the singular form of it is Vyanjanam. In the book, it is given as Vyanjanani. Vyanjanani is the plural form, consonants, or the set of all consonants is called Vyanjanani. Next is Anuswara. This we know. This is the dot which is placed above the letter, and it follows a vowel, and it gets a purely nasal sound. Next is Visarga. It is similar to a H sound, ha, and it has half the duration of the H sound. For example, Ramaha. So it is not a full Ramaha, it is Ramaha. So this follows a vowel as well. This is also a pullinga word. Anuswaraha is pullingam, Visargaha is pullingam, Swaraha is also pullingam, Vyanjanam is consonant. So we know that Swara is a vowel, Vyanjanam is a consonant, Anuswara is this dot, is a nasal sound following a vowel. Visarga is again the two dots on the side, which is a sound which follows the vowel. So these terms we are already familiar with. Then Sayuktakshara. Sayuktakshara also we have seen in the textbook. This should not be Sayuktakshara. It should be Sayuktaksharam. It is a Napumsakalinga word. The textbook shows there is a spelling mistake. Sayuktaksham it is written. If it is like that in your textbook, please correct it. It is the last word is Repha, Akara, and Makara. Ram. It is again a Napumsakalinga word. It means conjunct consonants. We saw all the conjunct consonants. What are conjunct consonants? Combinations of two consonants without intervening vowels. They are called Sayuktaksharas. Sayuktaksharam. If you pronounce it as Sayuktaksharam, you will remember its gender also. It is a Napumsakalinga word. Next is Namapada. So after seeing the letters of the Devanagari script, we proceeded to learn the nouns. And we said there are three lingams in nouns. It is the 3 genders, which are pullingam. An example of a pullinga noun is Gajananaha. Gajananaha is Ganesha. It ends in akara followed by a visarga. With this, initially we said we will be able to identify a pullinga word. So many of the pullinga words that we saw have an akara with a visarga ending. Next is Saraswati. An ikara ending word is normally a strilinga word. And Brahma. Brahma is a actually I could have given something in because most of the Napumsakalinga words that we have seen end in But Brahma, or the ultimate Brahman, the supreme Parabrahma, is also a Napumsakalinga word, and here it does not end in So all these are not rules, they are just initial guidelines to help you identify the gender of a word, like akara followed by visarga, or a dirgha akara, dirgha ikara, being a strilinga. All these things are not hard and fast rules. Initially, they help you to identify, but the foolproof method would be to learn the word along with its gender. Then we saw the Sarvanama Shabdas, or the Sarvanama Padani. The book just says Nama, so it means Nama Padam. Padam means word, Nama Padam means a noun. It also has the name Subantam, Subantam, Subantam. So there are 2 names for nouns, that is Nama Padam and Subantam. And these are the examples: Gajanana, Saraswati, and Brahma. Sarvanama Shabdas we saw. We saw the Etad Shabdaha, Idam Shabdaha, and Tat Shabdaha. Tat, Idam, and Etad. These 3 pronouns we saw in the 3 lingams: Pullingam, Strilingam, and Napumsaka lingam. So examples of pronouns are Etat, Saha, and Iyam. This, he, and this again in feminine gender. This is called Sarvanama Padam or Sarvanama Shabdaha. When you're referring to it in plural, you will say Sarvanama Shabdaha. Next is Kriya Padam. Kriya indicates an action. So Kriya Padam means action word. The other name for it is Tingantam. Tingantam or Kriya Padam refers to an action word. For example, Rama prays. Rama namati. Namati means he prays. So the action is indicated by this word namati. What is he doing? He is praying. So they are called Kriya Padani. Kriya Padam means verb. Okay, the textbooks just says Kriya. So you can add it as Kriya Padam or Kriya Shabdaha. Padam and Shabdaha both mean the same, and they mean word. So a word which indicates action is a Kriya Padam or Tingantam. Next is a Visheshanam. Visheshanam is an adjective. For example, tall, Unnataha Vrikshaha, or Unnatam Griham, a tall building is a Unnatam Bhavanam. And good, Uttamam. Uttamam Chitram. Uttamam Mitram. Mitram is a good friend. Uttamam Mitram. So these are all adjectives. They qualify the nouns. They are called Visheshanam. Visheshanam. Next is Kriya Visheshanam. Those which modify the verb or which give a better understanding of the verb is called a Kriya Visheshanam or an adverb. Kriya, as I told you, is an action word. So Visheshanam is something which gives more meaning to the action word, or they modify the verb. They are called adverbs, and an example of that is well. Samyak Kritam. Samskritam means Samyak Kritam, well done. Slowly, Mandam Gacha, go slowly. It means you're telling somebody to go slowly. How do you want him to go? Slowly, so that describes the way in which the action is done. So that's why it is called a Kriya Visheshanam. It qualifies the verb. Next is Avyayam. Avyayam is a word which does not change according to number or gender or any other classification. It remains a constant. For example, cha. Cha means and. It does not change under any circumstances. So api means also. That also does not change. For all numbers and all genders in a sentence, you can just use it as such without making any changes to them. So they are called avyayam. Why I am saying it has both napumsakalingam and pullingam is when you say avyaya padam, it will be avyayam in napumsakalingam. When you say avyaya shabdaha, then it will be avyayaha in pullingam. So it has both lingams, avyayam, avyayaha are both right, and they are called indeclinables in English. Then there is bhavarthaka avyayam. Bhava means the emotion. So bhava arthakaha avyayam. An emotion is indicated through an indeclinable by certain expressions. They are called interjections. For example, the word alas, which we use in English, we say aho in Sanskritam. Dhik is when you express contempt or disapproval or disappointment, you say fee on you. So this is an indication of resentment. Dhik. So these don't have any specific meaning, but they just indicate a kind of emotion or sentiment. Such avyayas, and they also don't change with number or gender or tense or anything. So that's why they are called avyayas. And specifically, this kind of an avyaya is called a bhavarthaka avyaya. Then we have dhatuhu, which is a verb root. To pray is called the nam dhatuhu. Namati comes from this nam dhatuhu. It is the basic component of the verb. So it is called the verb root that we refer to in Sanskritam as dhatuhu. Dhatuhu, along with certain additions, gives you the form to use it in sentences. As I told you, namati means he prays. So to get that namati, you have to start from the nam dhatu, which is the basic form. So the basic form of that verb, which is nam, is called the verb root or dhatuhu. Similarly, to read, Ramaha pathati. Pathati means he reads. But the basic verb is patha, to read. So when you say to read, to play, to act, to run, all these things, it is the basic verb. You add the particular tense, accordingly it will change the form and it will change the meaning as well. Lakaraha is the tense or mood. You know that in English there are present, past, simple, present, and all that. Like that, in Sanskritam also we have different tenses. We also have moods, like the imperative mood, where you give instructions or you have a request for somebody. Like you say, Rama, do this. Rama, please do this. So all these things are categorized under mood. They don't necessarily indicate the tense, they indicate the mood. So we have the imperative, optative mood. So where you wish, then benedictive mood, you give a blessing. All these things indicate a mood. All these come under the category of lakara. So present tense, past tense, future tense, all these things are the tenses. Imperative, conditional, optative, these are examples of the mood. We will see them in detail later, but just you know that there is a word called lakara which indicates the tense. Next is Bachanam. We are already familiar with this. We know that in Sanskritam there are 3 Vachanams, which means 3 numbers. Eka Vachanam is singular, Dvi Vachanam is dual, Bahuvachanam is plural. We know that there are 3 numbers, Eka Vachanam, Dvi Vachanam and Bahuvachanam. And one thing you should remember is that Vachanam applies both to nouns as well as to verbs. For example, in English we say I read, he reads, they too read, they all read, right? So there is a difference in the verb reads and read when the number changes. He reads, they read. So similarly, the number is also indicated in the verb itself. So that is why in Sanskritam, both the verbs as well as the nouns have the Vachana distinction. That is, you have to have verb forms for Ekavachanam, Dvivachanam and Bahuvachanam. Vachanam is something that is applicable both for Kriyapadam and Namapadam. You have to remember this. Next is Purushaha. In action words, we have the person. In sentences, we have the first person, second person and third person, right? First person refers to I in English. Whereas in Sanskritam, Prathama Purushaha or Anya Purushaha refers to the third person. So there's a diagonally opposite meaning in Sanskritam to what is there in English. Prathama means first, but Prathama Purushaha means third person in English. Madhyama Purushaha means the person who is being spoken to. Madhyama Purushaha is the second person. Uttama Purushaha is the person who is speaking, or the first person as we call it in English. So please be very careful about this. Prathama Purushaha in Sanskritam is the third person in English. Madhyama Purushaha is the same, second person in English. Uttama Purushaha is the first person in English. So I, we too and we all is the first person, right? That is the person who is speaking or the group of people who are speaking on whose behalf the speech is done is given by the Uttama Purushaha. The person to whom the person is speaking or the person who is in front of him, we refer to them as the second person or Madhyama Purushaha. The person about whom these two people are speaking is the third person. So that gets the name Prathama Purusha, Anya Purusha. Anya means someone else. So Anya Purusha. This is the person. So these are some grammatical terms. Then we have Shabdaha or Pratipadikam. For example, we saw that there is the Etad Shabda, which has three forms. One in Pullingam, which is Eshaha, Strilingam, Esha, Napumsakalingam, Etat. So there is a basic Shabda and there are forms in the different genders. So that basic Shabda is called the Pratipadikam or the noun stem. Just like how the verbs have a verb root, the nouns have a noun stem to which you make additions to give different forms in different circumstances. So that's the noun, basic part of the noun, which is called a Pratipadikam or the Shabda as such. Then Vibhakti. Vibhakti is something that we will be studying in detail later, but you know that it is a case ending. For example, in a sentence, Rama talks to Krishna. So, Rama calls Krishna. Okay. So in this sentence, the doer of the action is Rama. So he is the subject of the sentence. What is the action he does? He calls. So calling is the action. And whom does he call? He calls Krishna. So Krishna is the object of the sentence. So Rama is in the first case and Krishna is in the second case. So this is what we call as case endings. So the different parts of the sentence, the different nouns which have the different parts in the sentence will be referred to by vibhaktis ranging from 1 to 7. There will be Prathama Vibhakti, Dvitiya, Tritiya, Chaturthi, Panchami, Shashti and Saptami. Plus there is one more variation of the first Vibhakti, which is Sambodhana Prathama. So when you call somebody, Hey Rama, so when you're addressing Rama, you will use the Sambodhana Prathama. The Sambodhana means to call. So the calling Vibhakti is called the Sambodhana Prathama. This is what is Vibhakti. Don't worry too much if you don't understand this completely. We will be doing a complete chapter on this and we will be revising this in detail. Then we have the Lingam. We are already familiar with this. We saw that the Nama Padas or the nouns have three lingas, which are Pullingam, Strilingam and Napumsaka Lingam, masculine, feminine and neuter gender words. Okay. Let's see how much time we have. We have 10 minutes. Before going to this, I would like to go back to the grammatical terms from the beginning. We'll do a quick revision. If somebody can read and just read the word along with the English equivalent word, just to revise what we did so far, we can try and complete an exercise with these words. I will call out somebody. If you are willing to read, please raise your hand. I will unmute you and let you read. Vidyamutyam.
Ram Ram.
Do you want to read this? Ram Ram. Namaste. Can you read the Samskrita word along with the English meaning?
Swaraha, vowel. Vyanjanam, consonant. Anuswara,
Yes.
dot. So that's a nasal sound following a vowel. And,
Yes. See, these don't have an equivalent word in English, so we can just say Anuswara and Visargaha is Visarga. What it is, you have to understand that the nasal sound following a vowel, the H sound following a vowel. Okay, you can continue. Next is
Sanskrit, that is conjunct consonant.
Yes. Can you give me an example of a Samyuktakshara?
Samyuktakshara.
We have learned several Samyuktaksharas, right? What is Samyuktakshara?
A combination of two or more consonants without intervening vowels. So, nya, ja plus nya.
Very good. So it is nya. Very nice. Dhanyavadaha, Bhagini. Venkatesh Srinivasan Mahodaya.
Yes, ma'am. Ram
Ram
Ram.
Ram. Namaste. Yeah. Can you read the next set?
Namapadam.
Yes.
Subha Anantam. Subantam.
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 Yes. Namapadam, Subantam. They are both words referring to nouns. Okay.
Example, Gajananaha, Saraswati, Brahma.
Yes.
Sarva Nama Padam.
Very good.
Pronoun.
Yes.
Example, Etat, Saha, Iyam.
Good.
Kriya Padam. Tingtam. Verb.
This is na. There is a nakara followed by an akara. So it is tingantam.
Tingantam. Tingtam.
No. Tingantam.
How to pronounce?
You don't pronounce a gakara in between. There is no ga. It is just a tingantam. You produce the nasal sound for na and then go on to pronouncing nakara. Tingantam.
Tingantam.
Very good. Correct.
Verb. Example, praise. Namati.
Yes. So kriyapadam or tingantam is a verb. Very good. Next is
Visheshanam.
Yes.
Adjective. Example, tall, unnatam.
Yes.
Good, uttamam.
Yes. Now both the adjectives I have given here are in Napumsakalingam. For generality, I have given in Napumsakalingam. But all adjectives can have a Pullinga form and a Strilinga form as well. You can have Unnata for Strilingam, Unnataha for Pullingam. Very good. Dhanyavadaha Mahodaya.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Next is Beena Honatti.
Namaskara Bhagini.
Namaskara.
Kriya Visheshanam.
Yes.
Kriya Visheshanam, adverb, example, well, samyak, slowly, mandam.
Okay.
Avyayam.
You understand what the word adverb means? What is an adverb?
Yat kriyam varnayati tativa kriya.
Beautiful.
Visheshanam.
Can you explain in English for the benefit of everybody?
The term which describes the verb, we call it as the adverb.
Very good. Next is
Avyayam, athva
Yes.
avyayaha, indeclinables,
Yes.
examples,
Yes.
prepositions, conjunctions.
Yes.
Bhavarthaka avyayam, interjunctions, expressing an emotion or a sentiment, example, aho, alas, dhik, fie on you. Expression of disapproval or disappointment.
Very good. So indeclinables, we'll be seeing a group of a lot of indeclinables soon. So we will see the meanings of those indeclinables as well. So for now, you just have to understand that they don't undergo any change with regard to gender or number or person. And so they are called avyayas or unchanging letter words or avyayas. Dhanyavadaha, Bhagini.
Dhanyavada.
Tangam K. Can you read this?
Bhagini.
Ram.
Ram. Dhatuhu,
Yeah.
verb root, to pray. Nama, to read, pata. Lakaraha.
There is no akara there. There is just nam and pat.
Nam, to
Yes.
pray. Pat,
Yes.
to read.
Yes.
Lakaraha, tense or mood. Example, present tense, imperative tense, etc.
Imperative is a mood because when you say Rama, do this, Rama, go to the shop, you cannot precisely indicate the tense. It is just a mood. You're giving Rama an instruction. So it is called mood.
Mood.
So there are tenses, there are moods.
Moods.
Both of them come under the word lakara.
Lakaraha.
Very good. Next is
Bachanam, number. Ekavachanam, dvivachanam, bahuvachanam.
and they mean
Purush.
singular.
Number.
Yes.
Ekavachanam, dvivachanam, bahuvachanam, neuter gender. No?
Ekavachanam is singular. Dvivachanam
Singular.
is dual.
Dual.
Bahuvachanam is plural.
Plural.
Okay.
Purushaha, Purushaha, person.
Yes.
Pratama Purusha, Anya Purushaha. Pratama Purusha or Madhyama Purusha or Uttama Purusha. Prathama Purusha, he, she, it. Madhyama Purusha, you singular, plural, dual or plural. And
Yes.
Uttama Purusha is I,
We too.
we two, and we all.
Yes. So Prathama Purusha or Anya Purusha are both the same. You can use either of these terms to refer to the third person. That is he, she, it, they, those. And they too, those two. All
Those
these come under third person. Very good. Dhanyavadaha Bhagini.
Dhanyavadaha Bhagini.
Surya and Suryan. Okay. Subhadra Shankar. Subhadra Shankar, can you read next step? Ramarama.
Ramaram.
Yes,
Shabdah
read.
Pratipadikam.
Yes.
Noun or stem?
No, it's noun stem.
Oh,
It is the basic part of the noun, which is called the noun stem. The example is, we saw in pronouns, etad is the shabda, and we have esha, esha, and etad as the different forms for the same shabda. So that basic shabda etad is called the shabda or the pratipadikam. Yes,
Example, Nama, Fal, Phala,
Phala. Phala. Yes.
Vibhaktihi. Case
So we
ending.
saw a word, sorry, I am sorry to interrupt you. We saw that there is a word Ramaha. You see here that we don't write the Visarga, Rama, we stop with Rama, which means this is the root of the, or the basic part of that noun, which is Ramaha. For this, you can add other additions. You can make additions to indicate dual, plural, and other case endings. So the basic shabda is Rama. Similarly, Phalam is a Napumsakalinga word that we saw, but the basic shabda is Phala.
So Vibhaktihi. Case ending. 1 to 7. And Sambodhana Prathama.
Very good. Next is
Lingam. Gender. Pullingam, Strilingam, and Napumsakalingam.
very good. Dhanyavadaha. Now we will do an exercise. Kriya Visheshanam. Does anybody remember what this is? If anybody wants to try this, you can raise your hand. Sriram, Venkatesh. You want to try?
Namaste, Acharya.
Namaste. Do you remember what Kriya Visheshanam is?
Kriya Padam.
Kriya Padam is the verb. Kriya Visheshanam is
Adjective.
a normal. Visheshanam is an adjective. What is the Kriya Visheshanam?
Adverb.
Very good. It is an adverb. We will try the next one as well.
Astu, Acharya.
Indeclinable.
Avyayam.
Very good. Indeclinable is avyayam. Okay. Dhanyavadaha. I'll give somebody else a chance. Sriram MC Mahodaya.
Namo Namaha.
Namo Namaha. Ram Ram. Dhatuhu.
Root.
What root?
Root of the verb.
Very good. Verb root is the dhatu. Person, like in first person, second person.
Purushaha.
Purushaha. Next is Sarvanama Padam.
Pronouns.
Very good. Sarvanama Padam is a pronoun. We saw Eshaha, Etad, Yam, Ayam, Idam, all these things are Sarvanama Padas. Okay. Tense or mood.
Lakaraha.
Very good. Lakaraha is the tense or mood. Dhanyavadaha Mahodaya. So that brings us to the end of this lesson 8. So for homework, there is nothing given in the textbook as such. So what you can do is learn all these terms, and under each category, you also should know the different types. For example, in Lingam, you should know what are the 3 Lingams, and in Lakara, you should know what it indicates. For example, it indicates both the tense and the mood, right? So what are the components of each? Just as we have seen in all the slides today, please learn the terms. Yes. So we can have a small class test at the beginning of the next class. I will give you the, I will orally dictate the words, and you should write the equivalent Samskrita pada for the grammatical terms that we learned today. So we'll start off with the test in the next class. So we'll stop here. Let us recite the Shanti Mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dhanyavadaha. Shubharatrihi. Punarmilamah.